gives me great pleasure to introduce our guest speaker today. Nelson W. Wolff has served the San Antonio and Bexar County community since the early 1970s as an elected official and a local businessman. He currently is county judge, a position he has held since 2001, and has been reelected 3 times to that position. He is only the second person in more than a century to serve both as mayor of San Antonio and the Bexar County judge. Judge Wolff has transformed the role of county government by taking projects outside its traditional roles of providing a criminal justice system, public hospital district, and governance for the unincorporated areas. This has resulted in a higher profile for Bexar County, not only in the region, but nationally and internationally. In September of 2013, Bexar County landed on the world stage with the opening of the first all-digital public library, Bibliotech. A brainchild of Judge Wolff, Bibliotech offers patrons 24/7 access to a collection of more than 20,000 current titles, countless classics, research databases and scholarly journals, comics and graphic novels, music, movies, and magazines. The physical library offers community and group study rooms, an interactive children's area, 48 desktop computers, iPads and laptops for internal circulation, 800 e-readers for external circulation. The project earned Judge Wolff a nod from Government Technology as one of the top 25 doers, dreamers, and drivers of 2014. With his colleagues on Commissioner's Court and the City of San Antonio, Judge has worked to promote the greater economic development, including successful efforts to diversify the local economy. Economic development achievements include efforts to attract Medtronic, Kohl's, Becton, Dickinson, and the expansion of Toyota motor manufacturing, including the production of the Tacoma. Most recently, he has been very active in the working of numerous companies tied to the Eagle Ford shale activity, such as Halliburton, Baker Hughes, EOG Resources, Schulenberger, and Weatherford. Though he dreamed up the concept of a library without physical books, Judge Wolff is also an author, avid reader, and collector of 20th century first editions. His most recent book, Transforming San Antonio, an insider's view of the AT&T Center, Toyota, the PGA Village, and the Riverwalk Extension, explores 4 major developments in recent history that have added to the urban renewal and growth for our city. He is an author, husband, father, businessman, and public servant. Please help me to welcome our friend, Bexar County Judge Nelson Wolff.
Well, thank you, Gary, and thank you for the great leadership you provided this community also. And to Chairperson Annie Turner for her hard work this year as Chairman of the North Chamber, and to my good friend Dwayne Wilson, who has been an inspirational leader not only for the Chamber but for the community, and you look out for the whole community, which I appreciate very much, Dwayne. Let me just comment on what's all on our minds, which is what's happening in Washington today. I believe it's going to be around 2 or 2:30, I guess, that the President of the United States will nominate Mayor Julian Castro as the next Secretary of HUD. It's an exciting time for him. But it's also an exciting time for all of us. I've had the privilege of working with 3 different mayors. This will be the 4th one, and we meet every Monday to make sure things are coordinated right. And I'm confident that the city will move along under new leadership. And of course, we've got Cheryl Scully, our city manager, who does a marvelous job for the city. So don't worry about the city of San Antonio. They're going to come out just fine. This year for the county is a transition year. For the last 8 years, we have focused on major transformational capital projects, and those investments will stretch out to future generations over many, many, many years. Most all of them are completed or near completed, save for the San Pedro Creek, which we're in its initial stages. This year, in this transition year, we will begin to focus on the long-term payback for all of those capital projects by ensuring that programs and policies are put in place to get that great return on those capital projects. And we've invested in health care and technology and courthouse and transportation and flood control and culture and recreation. And we want to see returns in safety, health, education, criminal justice, job creation, and cultural renaissance. These projects and programs are outlined in your program that you have with you before at every one of your desks. And I want to thank Laura Jesse for putting that together. It's one of the most comprehensive pieces that you would receive from Bexar County that really shows you everything that we're doing. And on that front page, you will see one of the major investments. The Bexar County Hospital District, 7 members appointed by the Commissioners Court, 3 of which I appoint. We approved their budget and we approved their tax rate, and we voted in 2008 to make a huge investment along with the hospital, some $900 million. So today in downtown San Antonio, you see the 6-story Robert B. Greene Clinical Pavilion. It has physician specialists for adults and kids. It has an advanced imaging center, a comprehensive lab, and an outpatient surgery. And just this last month, the 10-story Sky Tower, over 1 million square feet, state-of-the-art hospital, beautiful and state-of-the-art technology, just opened. It's a level 1 trauma center. It's the first major investment that Bexar County has made in upgrading our hospital facilities. And that hospital serves a region of some 22 counties. We have with us today Chairman Jim Adams of the University Hospital Board, along with George Hernandez, President, some of the other board members of the hospital district, and we want to thank them. If you guys wouldn't mind standing up and recognizing the tremendous work that you're doing and the jobs you created. We also have investments in the private sector. Christa Santa Rosa is building a new state-of-the-art children's hospital, freestanding children's hospital in downtown San Antonio. And then Incarnate Word is in its stages of now deciding where their new medical school will be opening. 2 other great investments. And the Methodist hospital facilities are being added on at the medical center. With healthcare being our leading economic generator, we need to make sure that we build on the success of these investments that we've just made. After I became county judge in 2001, we held a health conference, health summit, and we worked throughout the summer planning for it. And it was a major achievement with some 400 people coming together, delineating the things that we needed to do to make our healthcare system a #1 system here in San Antonio. We began meeting this summer. Already have had 2 meetings as we plan to call for another healthcare summit in September of this year. The legislature will go into session in January of this coming year, and we want to be prepared ahead of time. There will be a lot of debate about Medicaid expansion, about affordable health insurance, about mental health issues, about funding for our University of Texas Health Science Center here at San Antonio that's so critical to San Antonio, and then debate about how do we merge health care and education in the schools that we have today, and we've begun to do some of that now. So after that summit, we hope to have a comprehensive plan for San Antonio regarding how we feel the legislature ought to look at some of the health care issues in our city. Through Bibliotech, which you heard a little bit about, we've addressed issues of technology, reading, and education. We had 2 objectives, and we kept them clear. Break down the barriers to reading, because there's nothing more important that you can do as a student growing up is learning how to read. And by breaking down those barriers, you don't have to go anywhere to get a book from us. Just go on the internet and start downloading. And we wanted to spread the virtues of technology. Today, if you don't understand technology, if you don't understand social media, that's almost like me growing up and not knowing how to read. So it's critically important, those two initiatives. And we worked hard to bring that about. We've had 62,000 people come into our library since we opened in September, about 300 a day. We've checked out now some 35,000 e-books. We opened a circulation desk in our jury room, which gives people an opportunity to check out our reader and read while they're waiting for being assigned to a jury trial. Some 75,000 come through there every year. We're committed to opening a branch on the east side of San Antonio. We reached out to all of our military service people all across the world and offered them free books as they can download wherever they are in the world. And then under Sheriff Pomeroy, she helped us a lot when we went to the jail, and a great program that she has where the mothers that are incarcerated bring their children there. And she worked with us, and we're providing children's e-book readers for the mothers when they come, when their children come to see them. I want to thank Commissioner Rodriguez, who offices right by Bibliotech, and he's been tremendously supportive of doing that. But what we want to do now is expand our scope by assisting public schools. We've already done a great deal of that in the Harlandale Independent School District. We partner with San Antonio Reads in that district, and we're reaching kids from pre-K up to the 3rd grade. We provided them some preloaded e-book readers with books to some of the teachers. And we've worked very hard with the district, with Catarina Velasquez, who reaches out, works for all these programs with the schools. And since we've opened, we've had 3,300 school children that we've interacted with, either in the schools or at our library. Today, I'm proud to announce a new step. The Hidalgo Foundation, under the leadership of my wife, Tracy, has said that she will, and the Hidalgo will grant $120,000 to purchase and distribute 1,000 e-books for school libraries throughout the community. And the Bibliotech staff will be providing the training to the librarians at the various schools of how to download, how to use those e-book readers. That's just a start. If this is successful, we'll continue to build on that. If my wife would stand along with Laura Cole, who heads up the operation, and with Ashley Eckhoff, our librarian. They're right over there. They're doing a tremendous job of breaking down the barriers and helping in education. Over the years, we've invested millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars in public safety, from juvenile and probation buildings to video visitation facilities, to the courtrooms, state-of-the-art technology, to a children's court, investments in technology and communication and equipment for our sheriffs, ballistic shields and vests and SWATs and patrol cars equipped with video systems, training facilities we put in place, and a tremendous amount of money in the largest hotel in San Antonio, which is the jail. Some 4,000 people live there on an everyday basis, and sheriff has to work to make that work for all of our customers, and it's not the kind of customers you probably want in a hotel. But anyway, it is a major operation. She's done a wonderful job of making sure that that operation is working right. There are 6 areas that we want to focus on that we believe will enhance our investments in public safety. A few years ago, we created a judicial support service to better help the judges better manage their court dockets, and that's very important. The longer they take to handle a case, the longer the person is waiting in jail to hear their case. We've helped them manage the dockets. We have quarterly reports. You can see how each judge does on their work, and by doing that, we're going to continue to work with them to move the dockets along, thereby saving space in our jail and saving a tremendous amount of money. we launched a program after I was appointed initially in 2013 to try to treat nonviolent offenders rather than just simply incarcerate them. And over these last 13 years, we have founded 6 criminal specialty courts and 3 civil specialty courts. And we're dealing with the root causes of the nonviolent offender that has a substance abuse or has a mental problem. And by working with them, we've been able to save lives of 1,200 people that have gone through a 2-year program. The recidivism rate is like 5 or 10%. They're back with their families. They're productive members of society. And it's been a great success. For every dollar that we've invested in that, we're saving taxpayers $10. So we want to continue to support those programs in our specialty courts and continue to build onto those programs. We just started a new initiative under County Manager David Smith's office, bringing in 3 professionals to evaluate mental health cases that may arise before they actually are put into jail. And that's along with District Attorney Susan Reed, who's been very successful. Gilbert Gonzalez is heading up that program for us. And when a person is arrested, we're going to begin to screen them. Hopefully, if they've got an issue, we're going to turn to Leon Evans. I saw him here somewhere with the Center for Healthcare Services to help us treat that person where instead of throwing them through the judicial system, if it's possible to do that. We've invested $14 million in the Haven for Hope. Now we want to transition and try to provide some operational funds for them as we enter this new program where a lot of people might be referred strictly over to the Haven for Hope. We're launching a new reentry program. Commissioner Atkinson has played a key role on that, and that's when somebody gets out of jail and you just throw them back on society. You can bet the odds are very heavy, probably 70-some-odd%, that they will end up back in jail. So we're working on a reentry program where we're working on jobs, housing, social services, and we're creating an actual space for that. The minute they get out of jail, they'll be able to go to a building very close to the jail where we have the To-Do Center and begin to work with them on the programs that we think will help them bring them back into society. Several years ago, Tracy raised all the money to build a children's court where abused and neglected cases are heard. It's on the 3rd floor of the courthouse. It's a state-of-the-art courts. It also has some social services up there in that area. But what we're seeing, and we can't seem to turn the corner on it, so many of the neglect and abuse cases are going into the criminal system or the civil system, expending a great deal of money on lawyers, some $3 million a year just on lawyers alone. Great deal of expense on on the DA's office and everything else that goes with that. I've been meeting with Judge Sakai, who's been a pioneer in this effort. We're trying to come up with a plan. How can we do more in prevention rather than just throwing this person into the legal system? Can we work it out with them? Can we save families? The natural parent, the love of a child for their natural parent never goes away. My daughter's adopted, and she eventually met her natural mother, and they've got a great relationship now. So it never goes away. So if you can help stabilize that parent that may have a problem, drug, whatever it might be, and keep their child with them, then that will be one of the goals to try to do, and Judge Sakai working on the particulars about how we might be able to expand that. We do have a public defender office. It handles just appellate cases. And we spend about $11 million a year on outside attorneys to represent people that are indigent. And by and large, they do a good job. But the cost is getting pretty expensive. Every year it continues to go up. So we're going to enter into a pilot program that we're asking the district judges and the county judges to give a public defender an opportunity in their court to see if we can balance this cost and see how our public defender system works. It's a pilot program. We're providing a budget for it in this coming year. We've had one judge, is that right, David? One judge so far that says, I'll do that. We need some more judges that were willing to say, I'll try that public defender and see how it works and see if we can get a better balance and get a better cost effectiveness in what we're doing. These 6 reform measures, as we work on them and help people being able to take resources away from just incarceration in judicial system and put those resources, more of those resources, into helping people and to also expanding our patrols. We have 2 substations drawings on the board, one in the northeast and one in the northwest, and we'd like to see more investments go in to patrolling efforts out in the county in those areas. I've already introduced her. She's already got a couple of rounds of applause, but Sheriff Permelo is working with us on those 2 substations, and she's done a good job of working. Good way to do bipartisanship government, because she does that. She knows how to do it. Let me talk to you a little bit about transportation and flood control. They go together, because generally in your flood control projects, you're building a bridge or you got a drainage problem and you're fixing that drainage problem along with that. We have, and you'll see in your pamphlet, a great number of pictures of all the projects we're doing throughout the county in those areas. Hundreds of millions of dollars being spent in that area. And we've done a lot of unique programs, like with the Texas Department of Transportation. We've up-fronted the cost of several roads, including Blanco, Culebra, and then getting paid back over a period of time from the department. We have some $1.2 billion being invested in projects just right now on 281, 1604, and I-10 that are underway today. We also have the Alamo Mobility Authority, Regional Mobility Authority. John Clamp's with us today, who's the chairman of the RMA. We now have a cash flow of about $12 million a year coming into the RMA, and we're using those monies for projects, not for staff. And so they're going to be looking at a number of things that we can do to enhance our highways, roads, and streets. And then this November, you're going to have an opportunity to vote on additional funding for transportation that would be coming through the Rainy Day Fund. I want to thank Commissioner Kevin Wolf for the work that he's done, not only in restructuring the RMA, which was a little bit of a problem to begin with, but also all the money that we've leveraged for transportation. Now, that being said, we believe that within the next several years, there will be 500,000 more cars on the road. And with the restricted state funds, restricted federal funds, there's no way we can completely build our way out of that. You just heard recently, just came out in the news, I guess it was yesterday, that we're the 4th largest growing city. That's terms of raw number, not percentage, raw number. That's how fast we're growing here in Bexar County. And so to have a good transit system, you do need a blend of public transit and you need a blend of highways and roads. By themselves, each, they'll never solve the problem. VIA is on the road to building a better multimodal transportation system. They're building park and ride at Brooks and at Stone Oak. They're building 2 multimodal terminals on the east and west of downtown. They started a bus rapid system, and they will build a 5.9 streetcar system. And I know there's a lot of difference of opinion. I know there's a lot of people that don't like it. Some of my best friends don't agree with me, and some of my closest political enemies don't agree with me. So I'm going to just give you a few reasons why I support it. It is expensive to get started, but once you get started, it's fine. Our sister cities of Houston and Dallas have done a tremendous job. Dallas is now the largest passenger rail system, intercity passenger rail system in the nation. Houston continues to build on the one that they started here a few years ago. They all start with tremendous controversy. But once they're built, the demand for expansion never stops. And we do have the ability to expand. We have an 18-mile line that's going to become available to us that'll be right at the West Side Multimodal Terminal, right where the streetcar will go in, that would take us all the way out to La Cantera and places in between there. Just very briefly, a streetcar carries 3 times more passengers than a bus. It lasts 3 times longer than a bus. Once it's up, it's cheaper to run. It reduces pollution and congestion. It will be a tremendous intercity connection between museums and the University of Texas and the University Health System, the performing arts, the hemisphere redevelopment, and best of all, they've got most of the money in their bank, and it doesn't require a tax increase. Now, everybody needs to make up their own mind that how you feel about it. There's only one thing I'm going to ask you to do. One thing. We have Alex Bersania with us here today. Alex is a former city manager, former chairman of the San Antonio Water System, served on the University Hospital Board. He has proven to you over and over again that he is a trusted community leader. And along with Jeff Arndt, who's the president of VIA, he was in Houston and led part of that effort to build the system that they have in Houston today. And of course, Charlie Gonzalez is their former United States congressman. Just give them a chance to present their program to you, and then you can make a decision whether you like it or not. They're here today. Alex, where are you? Where are y'all? Would y'all stand up? The VIA system has been recognized throughout the year as one of the best systems in the United States, and it's one of the most efficient ones in the United States. So give them a chance. Let them explain it to you, and then you decide what you want to do. We've invested a lot of money in cultural and recreation. The mission reach of the river, some $200 million, with the voters approving 125 of that and 75 coming from flood control, has been a tremendous success. The largest ecological restoration of an urban river in the United States. Connects all the museums today. If you haven't been down there, you ought to get down there. If you can ride a bike, if you can walk, if you can jog, you need to get on that river. I keep a bike in my office. I go in right at Nueva, right before King William, and I can go probably about 10, 12 miles now all the way down to Mission Espada. We need to build on that investment. We do need to see more housing come along close to the river and the south side continuing to grow in that area. And we've got a very unique opportunity, and you could really help us on this. We have a chance to designate the 4 missions that are connected on the river and the Alamo as a World Heritage Site, a designation by UNESCO. There's not another one in the state of Texas. It's a huge economic impact. We did the study for it. How many more people will come to a community when they have a World Heritage Site? So it's important economically as well as to get that tremendous recognition. Now, there's one thing we need to ask you to do. The Congress does not want to pay the UNESCO fee or the bill or whatever it is that they have to pay them. That's okay. But there is one section that they could pay that goes to the World Heritage Site Committee. Betty, is that right? It's about $875,000. If they would just pay that, it would help us a great deal in getting that destination. They will come here probably this fall, Betty, and then they will make that decision next year whether we're designated or not. It would be a huge plus for us if we are designated. We're building 13 regional sports facilities. All of them are completed. All of them are being used today. We started the Bexar County Games last year. We're expanding on that today. We've got 4 sports that we're having today. We opened up the first one, which was basketball. We had over 100 teams show up. We had to go get another facility to be able to handle them all. We will have double, maybe triple, the number of young people participating in the Bexar County Games this year than we did in the first year. So we want to support those facilities, bring in tournaments. A good part of what we're doing is bringing in tournaments, which helps the tourism industry and helps build an economic stronghold. We've invested a lot of money in the county arenas. and the exposition halls. County owns about 185 acres. We have 5 members that we appoint to be the landlord of those 180 some odd acres. And on that 185 acres, we have the AT&T Center, we have the Coliseum, and we have some 300,000 new square feet of exposition facilities that we have built. And we want to make sure that that continue to pay off. We always sort of think about the Spurs when we think of the AT&T Center, but it's also the rodeo. The rodeo has been the best indoor rodeo every year since we have built it. They gave out $11.5 million in scholarships this year alone, and I think that's double or triple compared to what it was before the AT&T Center, bringing that total to $147 million. Keith Martin has been a great leader, along with the thousands of volunteers that have worked on that. We're in the process now of upgrading the AT&T Center, which the voters approved, some $75 million. And again, another good investment that I think we're making. And we just need to make sure that we're continuing to support both the rodeo and the San Antonio Spurs. They're going to win this national championship. Wherever you go in the world, and you say you're from San Antonio, Texas, the first thing that pops in somebody's mind is the San Antonio River and the San Antonio Spurs. So they've put us on the national mark. We want to continue this investment to make sure they are here forever. County took the lead to make sure that they would stay here, building them that new arena. And now with these additional investments to keep the arena up to the state of the art, it's going to assure a much longer time that they will stay here in San Antonio, and we can tie that down. We made a big investment in the Tobin Center for the Performing Arts. I don't know whether Bruce Bogue is here today or not, but he chairs that effort, but he's done a marvelous job. We've invested some $100 million in it. He's raised some $52 million for it. I was there just yesterday and going through it. It's going to open September the 4th. It's 1,700-seat auditorium. It's about a 300-seat black box theater. And then we also have an outside performance space right next to it. We will have a tremendous diversified lineup. I think they have it outside, don't they, Dwayne? I think I saw some of them laying around, all the events that will start coming here after they open up in September the 4th. It is a state-of-the-art facility. It will set a new standard for performing arts centers, I think, anywhere around the world. You just got to get inside to see it. And Gary George said, you know, it sounds so good, I may buy a box. But you need to go take a look at it as we move closer to getting finished. We're going to have Renee Fleming there. I don't know who Big Bad Voodoo Daddy is, but I understand he's pretty big entertainer. Of course, Lang Lang will be leading our symphony, and I think Bill Crosby is going to perform there also. So we need to support our. We built that performance art because we want to support our local performing arts groups, which include the San Antonio Symphony, Ballet San Antonio, Opera San Antonio, numerous local performing groups that are from Conjunto to mariachi to country western that are all right here in San Antonio. So we need to work hard to support them. Bexar County started a new program just last year. That's an arts intern program where we take 10 new students each year and allow them to be part of one of the local arts groups here in San Antonio. They've been part of youth orchestras of San Antonio, ballet, Cactus Pear Festival, the Playhouse. It's encouraging them to understand how important culture is. Last year, sorry to say I don't have a band here this year, but last year I talked to you about music, and we're beginning to make some headway on that. We're beginning to make some headway. The Maverick Music Festival had their second year, and it was very successful. Now, what we'd like to do, and I'm going to be sitting down with some of the multiple venues that we have in the center city that are fairly close to each other, with some of the promoters, and see if we can put together a music festival. Not big and overblown like it is in Austin. Start small, make sure we do it right, and to have the diversity of San Antonio sounds there. You can range from country music to conjunto to symphonies playing, and just have the musics of San Antonio. I think that would be a big step for us to attract particularly a lot of young workers to San Antonio as well as visitors to the city. The museum, we have really a cultural corridor going on with the Alameda under construction that will tribute to Spanish language film and theater. The children's, I saw Vanessa a little while, the Children's Museum, you see it going up along Broadway, an absolutely wonderful facility. The Whitty Museum, which is doing some new renovations today and are enhancing their facilities. The McNay, that's a little bit further out north, not very far, maybe a mile or two. San Antonio Museum of Art, Katie Luber's doing a tremendous job there. They're continuing to expand their programs. And then the Briscoe Western Art Museum that Tracy's on the board just opened here a few months ago, and it's really state-of-the-art Western Art Museum for our area. And then finally down to Blue Star, which is a contemporary art museum, which is really important. And let me slip this in here. They could all be connected by a streetcar. And they do support that, by the way. Let me say a couple of words about economic development. All these investments that I've been talking about help on economic development, whether they're in public safety, culture, recreation, buildings that we do, and all help. And there's one part that we have been working on, and that's some investments in the Central City, which we think are important for two different reasons. And we see that the growth coming about now, all the way from Pearl all the way down to Big Tex. We had one under construction south, another one that's going to open under south, another one that's been announced. So they're all connecting all the way from north to south to Southtown. And that's good for two reasons. And if you want to say anything to anybody that, say, lives out here north, which is where I live, it's better for me if somebody lives in the Central City or has their operation there, because it doesn't cause taxes to go up, both city and county. If the sprawl continues to go out, we've done an analysis. If we were to provide just somewhat like city-like services, you'd have to double the tax rate of Bexar County. We're at 33 cents, city's at 58, they have sales tax, they have CPS revenue. There's no way we can do that out there. If you were going to say, well, let them start their own deal and get the same kind of services, let them tax themselves, you'd have to quadruple the rate. So anything we do in the center city saves all of us money. And we do that by helping on some incentives for housing to occur in the Central City. And then it's an urban living style. Now, we want to give you a choice. Sheriff Permelo lives downtown in a condo. So does the city manager. And they're part of that central living life. They may want to live there, and they may like it, or they can live out in the suburbs. We just want to give people choices about where they want to live a totally different lifestyle. And many young professionals today want that kind of lifestyle. It's about attracting brains today that will stay in your community and build, and that's part of the reason, again, for an enhanced public transit system in the downtown, in the Central City area, as well as the other things that we're doing that. But in addition to that, that's not good enough just to make the investments. We have to continue to work on them. David Marquez is with us today, who heads up our economic development department. We have to work very hard. We use every tool we've got, 381 grants, tax abatement programs, Texas Enterprise Free Zone, to encourage companies to expand here or to come here. I think we got more prospects working now than we've had in a very long time. Many of them, I might add, are international. I think we got something like 157 different companies here that are foreign owned in some form or fashion here in San Antonio. We've seen in the last 10 years, we've seen some $4 billion investment by private companies in these new endeavors. And if you look at the chart, there's two charts that are really good. One shows the tax rate going down. The other one says jobs going up. We've added 167,000 net new jobs in the last few years, last 10 years, 13 years, a 22% growth since 2001. Our unemployment's down to 4.8. You're getting close to where you don't have any unemployment when you start dipping below 5. So I think what we're doing makes sense, and we need to continue to work on that. Let me say a couple of things about the budget. We are a fiscally conservative government. I tell you what our tax rate is already. I don't think anybody has pushed down and held taxes down better than we have over the last several years. We've also put in place a senior citizen freeze, a disabled veteran exemption, and we've still been able, by our conservative government, to maintain a AAA credit rating. In the year that we're in now, we're beginning to see some changes, and you read about it in the paper, that valuations are going up. We've always lived and got additional revenue based on new construction, new things happening. So this coming fiscal year should even be better. And I've given a task to David Smith as he works on this budget, as we see property values increase and see things going, to cut that tax rate some more. We'll still have some revenue growth, but to cut that tax rate some more so that we'll stimulate more economic development in the community. Well, first of all, let me introduce my granddaughter, Nicole Nash. She's with us here today. She just, Maria Ferrier. Where'd you go, Maria? Yeah, Maria's working with us at Bibliotech. Nicole is just getting her undergraduate degree now, and she's going into the 5th year at A&M, and we'll go have a CPA degree, so she's one of your products, one of your products. Let me just leave with you four philosophical things that sort of drive me as serving as your county judge, and I'll close on those four. It's not about talking. It's about doing. It's not about what you're against, but what are you for? It's not about equivocation, but standing up for what you believe in and not being afraid to make hard decisions. And it's not about whether you're a Democrat or Republican, but rather are you willing to work together for the best of our community on a bipartisan basis. Thank you.